This episode of the Oranges, Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, is brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. Aligned Health Center is the first chiropractic biophysics clinic in Northern Ohio, serving patients in the Westlake and Beechwood, Ohio areas. The team at Aligned Health Center helps patients with back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and much more. If that is you, check out our friends at Aligned Health Center. Their mission is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-230-6865 or visit the website at alignedhealthcenters.com to make an appointment and to learn more about how Aligned Health Center can help you. Again, that's 440-230-6865 or visit them online at alignedhealthcenters.com. This episode was also brought to you by The Place. The Place is the place for all of your hot tub, spa, fireplace, and outdoor grill needs. The Place has been in business for 52 years, all family owned and operated. They are a full-service fireplace and spa superstore. They boast a 16,000 square foot showroom with over 40 live burning fireplaces and 40 hot tubs and swim spas on display. It's impressive. Check it out. They've been voted North America's #1 service center by Coast Spas 2 of the last 4 years. Visit The Place on 2377 Medina Road today to transform your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. In this episode, Jeremy and I vent regarding the NFL's decision to uphold Myles Garrett's indefinite suspension, which makes zero sense at all, proving once again the NFL has no idea what the heck they're doing, how to handle player conduct, or any idea of justice or standards. It's completely asinine, and I'm so irrationally upset. It's hard to find words, even though that's part of what Jeremy and I are doing, or finding words to voice our frustration. We preview the Browns-Dolphins game on Sunday. Browns fans, don't fret. David Njoku's back. All problems are solved. The Chief is here. All golden rainbows and unicorns all the way the rest of the season. Do not worry, Njoku is the missing piece, apparently. We got our House of Hoodies game preview and narratives, keys to the game, bold predictions, where Jerry and I believe the Browns are looking to show off their O-face on Sunday. Bottom line, the NFL sucks. The Browns are going to run train on the rest of the league, and they're never losing again. I feel bad for any team in their path. I'm recording live from Tampa, Florida, in a Hampton Inn, so the ambience noise adds to the chaos of this week for the Browns. Take a deep breath. We play the Dolphins on Sunday. It's going to be okay. Jim Donovan, take us away.
45-40! Run, William, run! He's got blockers in front! 5! Touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, can't block! They blocked the kick!
This is the Oranges, Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I am your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, I am recording live from Tampa, Florida, in the lobby of the Hampton Inn. So if you hear some music behind me, let's go to a classic lobby music. What's up, Jeremy?
What is up, Hampton Inn? Nothing but top-of-the-line 5-star hotels from our man Chase.
You know it, man. You know it. Hey, all right, so before we get to our game preview, we're going to touch on narratives, the keys of the game, and bold predictions in just a few moments. Today, the NFL ruled on Myles Garrett's appeal, and not quite the result we were looking for. Actually, the NFL reduced Steelers center Marquise Pouncey's games.
Marquise Pouncey, who is wildly swinging and hitting and kicking Garrett, by the way, on the ground.
3 games to 2, upheld, surprisingly, Myles Garrett's indefinite suspension. Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
I think it's trash, to be honest with you. I don't have a problem, like I've told you a few times, with Myles Garrett being suspended the rest of the year. If they would have just came out and said, okay, we're going to give him a 6-game suspension, we're going to uphold everything else, I would have been like, oh, okay, you know what? That's fair. The fact that I think it's actually a smack in the face to the Browns organization that they took a game off of Pouncey's down to 2 games and kept Myles Garrett's how it was. It's a smack in the face. It really is. I don't know if you saw, but John Dorsey released a statement. Yep. John Dorsey has Myles Garrett's back all the way. Myles Garrett doubled down on the talk that someone said a negative word, race-wise. I don't want to get into that too much, but I mean, I really honestly believe this whole thing's a smack in the face. And if what Myles Garrett said tonight is true, that there was only, what did he say, 4 people in the room, and he thought it was a safe space to say what he thought. And the fact that that leaked right away, that's a horrible look for the NFL if the
So
NFL's people leak that.
a couple things about the appeal process and today. At some point in his appeal, Garrett mentioned that someone used a racial slur, and the NFL said that they investigated it. There's no audio to prove it. This is all kind of secondhand, third hand, whatever you want to call it. But to come around and for Myles to say, "Hey, that was in a closed room, like confidential conversation," like what the freak? He's doubling down on that accusation. The Browns are doubling down on Myles Garrett. This is a really, really interesting development, Jeremy, that we don't have to get into exactly what happened, but the fact that the Browns are supporting Garrett, the players are, and they didn't say they heard it obviously, but they're backing up Myles Garrett. This is a really, really, really
let me give you an alternate explanation. Let me give you an alternate explanation where Myles isn't lying and maybe Mason Rudolph isn't either. There was a scrum going on. It's very possible that Myles heard someone else say the word.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And thought it came from Mason Rudolph. I mean, there's some nuance here. It doesn't necessarily mean, that he's lying or he's lying. It could be he heard someone say it, he thought it was him. It could be a lot of things. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on that. But I'm still flabbergasted that they reduced Pouncey's suspension. I can't even believe it.
That's ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Rudolph gets a small smack, smack on the wrist with the fine. It's just it's got to be at least somewhat of a vendetta with the Browns organization. There's got to be something there. I mean, it's been going on for years. The NFL always seems to, between the penalties and just everything that's happened, it's got to be something more. But what can you do?
I want to read Myles' statement, exactly what he said, because it's really well worded. There's also a thing going on Twitter that Myles was Mason Rudolph bit Myles Garrett on the arm. I don't know if that's true.
That's fake. That's a little conspiracy fake. Don't give any weight to that.
So this is Myles' response to the public of his accusation of racial slurs. I was assured that the hearing was a space that afforded the opportunity to speak openly and honestly about the incident that led to my suspension. This was not meant for public dissemination, nor was it a convenient attempt to justify my actions or restore my image in the eyes of those I disappointed. I know what I heard. Whether my opponent's comment was born out of frustration or ignorance, I cannot say. But his actions do not excuse my lack of restraint in the moment, and I truly regret the impact this has had on the league, the Browns, and our devoted fans. Jeremy, one of the knocks on Myles was, does he have the killer instinct? Does he have the mean streak in him?
We got that answer.
And I think at the heart of, for some reason, the NFL's punishment was this a criminal act? Was there original intent of him ripping the helmet off to hit Mason Rudolph on top of the head? And my answer to that question is no. I don't think, looking at the replay, you can say there's criminal intent from the initial yanking of the helmet. He had it down and was charged by Rudolph and was surrounded by Steelers fans, by Steelers players, and then swung the helmet. And so I don't understand the holding of his suspension. I'm outrageously upset at the whole thing. Will he be ready to play in 2020? Jeremy, will he be ready for next season?
Oh yeah. Oh, he'll be ready to go. If it goes in, I'll tell you what, if it goes in the next season, I'm going to really lose it. I mean, I'm mad now, and I'm mad that Pouncey's suspension got lowered. I'm mad that they kept it indefinite. I'm serious now. If they would have just came out and said 6 games or 6 games even plus the playoffs if we make it, I would be all right with that. I'd say, okay, But the fact that they did not do anything, they didn't lower the suspension at all. They just upheld it and lowered Pouncey's as a smack in the face to Browns fans and the organization. And I'm just hot, Chase. I'm hot about it. I'm mad. It's wrong. Justice was not served.
There were a lot of tweets that said if only he would have broken a kid's arm, he would have only gotten 4 games.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill.
About Tyreek Hill. Obviously, the NFL has handled every domestic situation complete opposite of how they should. And I do think there's credence, Jay, to what you said in our last podcast with Kenny Rhoda. Check it out right before this episode. That the media's reaction to the NFL to get this right was this overreaction, this overreach of the NFL to show, hey, we're taking this seriously. Like, we're going to get this right. And I think there's a lot of merit, not only with the league, but with all the other media reporters everywhere jumping on this and making this a bigger deal than probably what it is. Do you see that true for the league offices as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I even understand their sentiment that player safety has to be number one. We have to, okay, all that's fine and good, but you're not proving any point here. I mean, literally the fact that Pouncey, who was kicking Garrett in the head and punching him repeatedly, got his suspension downgraded, proves that it's not all about player safety. Because if it was, you would have kept that at 3. Come on now.
It is completely bogus. It's oh my gosh.
Nothing
all
to
right.
say. Hey, like I said on Twitter, close ranks and keep marching because it's Browns against the world. Seriously. And Mike Prefer actually came out and said what I said today. Remember, I was tweeting about it and talking about how the Browns have to close ranks and keep marching because it's them against the world.
Your man
exactly
Prefer,
what Mike Prefer said today. I'm telling you,
He's
man,
your
that
boy.
guy, if it wasn't for some silly dumb comments 2 years ago, he'd probably be a head coach right now. He's John Harbaugh-esque. He's a great coach. They got to keep him around in some manner for as long as they can.
Hilliard doesn't return punts, I think he's okay in my book.
But seriously, it's just Prefer said exactly what I said on the show, exactly what I said on Twitter. Close ranks, keep marching, move forward. That's what the Browns have to do because it literally is us against the world. It's the Browns versus everybody else. I hope that's a rallying cry in the locker room. I'm sure it is. I'm sure they're all on message with this. But in this case, it's accurate. It really is. That's all you got is the guys in the locker room and the fans is all the Browns have.
Well, back to what you said on our last podcast, on to Miami. So let's jump to our House of Hoodies game preview. The Browns haven't played football since last Thursday. It feels a little longer than that, just with everything that's going on. I'm ready for them to take the field again. I think the stadium's going to be rocking. As our good friends
too. Oh boy.
By House of Hoodies. Sunday 1 p.m. kickoff. We're hosting the Miami Dolphins. They're 2-8. Browns are 4-6. Jay, do you know the line?
Yeah, Browns by 10.5.
Browns by 10.5. Double digits favorites. First time since 2007, I believe, against San Francisco. With Derek Anderson and Brady Quinn.
In that game, Braylon Edwards had an 80-yard touchdown that game.
The Browns covered. The Dolphins starting running back Kalen Ballage, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's now the featured back after running back Mark Walton for the Dolphins was waived following incident with the police.
That was after they already traded their actual Kenyon Drake first. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. This team is. I think the Browns are going to blow them out. I think the Browns are going to rally. They're going to blow them out. This team is devastated. They put 2 more DBs on IR this week. Their safeties and corners are nobody you've ever heard of. There's like 10 starts between them. Dude, this team is an absolute mess.
The Dolphins starting quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, not afraid to throw the ball. He can get yards. He's going to be looking to Devontae Parker and Alan Hearns to move the ball, which Jeremy, if we don't get pressure on him, he can make throws. Does that scare you at all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It scares me that I think they're going to score some points. I mean, like you said, they have decent receivers. Devontae Parker, who originally was called a bust, actually came on halfway through last year and became a nice player. And Hearns obviously is a nice player as well. And Fitzpatrick can make some plays. I mean, if they don't call him Fitzmagic for nothing, right? But he can make some plays. I just think that it's going to have to be big plays. They're not going to be able to sustain anything on the ground. If I'm the Browns are going to be able to bring linebackers because of that. They're not going to have to worry about the run. They're going to be able to bring pressure. I think the Browns are going to be able to score almost at will this week. You're going to see Baker look like he looked maybe last year against Atlanta or Cincinnati, because their secondary is an absolute mess. Josh Allen, who I like, but he's not great, but I like him as a player, won AFC Player of the Week this week based off his performance against Miami last week. I watched that game, and it was like they made him look like Steve Young, like I said in our last podcast. I mean, He was brilliant. He did whatever he wanted, and there was space everywhere. The Browns are going to have space. They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to throw the ball. Probably the 2 best players on Miami on defense are both ex-Buckeyes, Raekwon McMillan and Jerome Baker, but they're just good players. They're not difference makers. There's no difference maker on that defense right now. So I think the Browns are going to be able to do whatever they want offensively. If they can just slow the Dolphins down, the Dolphins are going to score a couple touchdowns, okay? They'll score 14, but it's going to have to be on big plays because I don't see how they can sustain drives. So I don't know if you saw today, and I'd said something about this the last 2 weeks, but Steve Wilkes said that Denzel Ward has graded out phenomenally the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
That he's been, and I've noticed it. I think you've brought it up. So we just need Greedy to play up some. So we're still going to have we're a little thin at safety, but we still have Demarius Randall, which is going to help big time on the back end. We called up TJ Hassel from the practice squad, a guy who was really good in the preseason. So I'm not super worried about it. We still got our linebackers, Mac Wilson, getting better every week. Joe Schobert played the game of his life last week. So I'm probably not as worried about it as you are. I think Miami will score some points, but I honestly can see the Browns putting up somewhere between 30 and 40 points this week.
So the Dolphins are going to be motivated to tank. They've won their 2 games. They've made their point. They are in full out, we are going to lose football games mode. There's no motivation to win. They are motivated to tank. Not so much for Tua. What is it? Blow for Burrow? I don't know what the exact kind of moniker is.
Blow for Burrow.
But
the
Browns,
the chase for Young.
yeah, the Browns their defense is also ravaged by injuries, by suspensions.
Sure.
Without Garrett, without Ogunjobi. Our starting strong safety is Justin Burris right now. So another story is
played well.
Shouts to Land of the Cleaves, who just tweeted on Twitter. I can't wait to hear Chase trash and downplay Njoku's return. We are seeing the return of David Njoku.
Right.
All of our problems are solved. Njoku's back. The Browns are back. Njoku is here. No more worries.
In all honesty, though, Chase, our defense does have some injuries, but our offense at this exact moment is incredibly healthy for this point of the year.
It is.
We literally have our entire starting offense right now healthy and ready to play this week. Now, we'll see Njoku. Freddie actually said he's not going to play unless he can play. He's not going to be out there for 1 or 2 plays. He's going to play if he can play the whole game. Otherwise, they're going to hold him out till next week. So we'll see where he's at. But it would be nice to give him a game before we go back to that slugfest in Pittsburgh. You did. Like I talked from the beginning, I've told you for this whole time that I know you downplayed Njoku's loss, but he is important in the red zone. We talked about that, last year. How many times did Baker hit him on they lined him up as a receiver and hit him on the fade? He's a big body that can make a catch in the end zone. We're lacking that right now. That's just a fact. So I think he will help in that manner. And like we've talked about, Baker's starting to get in his groove now.
Yeah.
I mean, and now he's facing some defenses where he can do some work. So it's going to be very interesting. I honestly believe you're going to see Baker look like the Baker of the Atlanta game last year. I think you're going to see 280 to 300, 4 touchdowns, 3 to 4 touchdowns. And then, now you have Kareem Hunt and Chubb also in rhythm. So it's going to be a very fun game, I think, Sunday.
That's the hope. And you can't ignore the difference of our red zone efficiency this year to last year. And whether Njoku is a part of that, whether it's Freddie Kitchens, whether it's Baker getting it, there's so many factors into that. And so I can't ignore that. Maybe his absence did play a part in that. But, Jay, that's the hope. The hope is that Baker carves up this defense instead of a Thanksgiving turkey here in the next week or so. We hope that this, Thanksgiving season is kind of Baker. We've touched on that a little bit. But you look at the schedule and you start to think, man, Baker has played some of the top defenses, really the 4 of the top 7 defenses in the league the past month. Even the Seahawks before that, which they're not terrible, but they still can be confusing. And he's played incredibly well, stepping into his stride, looking better and better. If we can get him going and make this late season playoff push, Jay, there's no better offense on paper than the Browns. We've talked about that ad nauseum. Let's jump ahead and talk narratives, Jeremy. What are some narratives you see surrounding this team around this Dolphins game?
Like I said, it's going to be the biggest narrative is, well, how will they respond to this adversity? Will they close ranks? Will they keep marching? Will they use this as a reason to come together as a unit? I think they will. The Dolphins, on the other hand, have had a pretty horrific week as well. When their starting running back got arrested for punching his girlfriend multiple times in the head. So it's not all peaches and cream in Miami right now. So they have some stuff to deal with as well. And they're coming up here. It's not going to be too cold, but it's going to be a lot colder than it is in Miami. These guys, when the season's over, their season's done, do they want to come up in the cold? Do they want to tackle we talked about this before, but do they want to tackle Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb over and over and over again? Well, that remains to be seen. So I think but the big narrative is, how do the Browns deal with all this adversity, I think. Yeah,
and they're going to show replays on TV. They're going to be talking about it all the time. And I think that is the main narrative going into this game for sure. And I can tell you, I'm here in Florida right now. It is a balmy 78 here in Tampa right now. maybe a little cooler than that, but it is definitely noticeable. And the air is just chilly. And man, in Ohio, you guys know it is cold. It is warm down here. That has to
Oh
affect
yeah, that's right.
players.
I forgot. I almost forgot that you are in sunny Tampa.
Yes. And so I can tell you, I'm not looking forward to being back in Ohio on Sunday night. Jay, I think what narrative we're going to start seeing, if not this week, then next week for sure, is the what if season. Okay. What if we would have beaten Denver? What if we didn't kind of go bonkers after the first drive in Tennessee? What if we would have beat Seattle? I think as we get closer to the end of the season and as the playoff picture is less and less in our hands, we're going to start asking ourselves, man, what if? What if we would have won this game? What if we would have done this? What if this would have happened? Because I think we're going to find out that our fate in the postseason is not going to be in our hands, where it could have been and it should have been. And I think whether we win this one, especially if we lose, oh my gosh, let me get me started on if we lose this game, which I do want to talk about that in a second. But this what if kind of headline with this season is going to be the outcome of is going to be like about the team's like how it does at the end of the season. I think this Myles Garrett's going to define the season for the Browns. Like this whole incident, aside from all the other crazy things, the cleats, the watches, the Baker handshakes, the Kareem Hunt, whatever else has happened, this Myles Garrett thing is an actual thing. But I think it's going to be the what if season. Jeremy, if the Browns lose to the Dolphins, is Freddie Kitchens fired?
No, but I don't think it's going to happen. But no, I don't think he'll be fired. I think at this point now, with 6 games left, 5 games after this, it'd be pointless. So they'll let him ride it out. I just don't see them losing this game, Chase. I think they're going to dominate this game. But I guess you could, if you play a hypothetical and they came out and they got smoked and it looked like they didn't want to be there. I mean, anything's possible. But I think Freddie finishes out the year no matter what at this point.
All right. Well, that does it for our House of Hoodies game preview and narratives. Your number one source for hockey-style NFL sweatshirts, super comfortable, super warm, and super stylish. Use promo code ORANGER at checkout to receive 20% off your order. Check out their entire NFL selection online at thehouseofhoodies.com. Again, that's thehouseofhoodies.com. Follow them on Twitter at HO Hoodies. Jay, let's jump to the keys to the game. If the Browns don't want to completely blow it, what do the Browns need to do here against Miami to come away with the victory in Cleveland on Sunday afternoon?
Well, my big thing, like I've talked about in other games, is get on them early. Put it on them early, and they're going to quit. And, they don't have anything to play for. Get a couple touchdown lead, and then pound them away with our backs. Impose our will on them. Like I said, this is a secondary that has guys that have never played in the league starting. They got a guy with 3 starts, a guy with 1 start, guys you've never heard of, guys that have been special teamers. I think one of their safeties has played in 46 games but never started, which means he's a career special teamer. And you have Jarvis Landry, you have Odell Beckham Jr., you have Kareem Hunt, probably David Njoku, and Nick Chubb. Okay, if you can't take advantage of this,
you could have stopped it in Njoku first, and that's all we need, apparently.
Yes, yes, but no. I mean, this is a game where you have an opponent. This has not happened much in the last decade, Chase, with the Browns, where you have so much more talent that it shouldn't even be a game. And I really think, the way the offense has been getting better and better and better, this is the game where it's going to crescendo because they have all the stuff in front of them. Baker and OBJ are very close to having a big-time breakout game. With the situation this week, this could very well be it, Chase.
Jay, one of the things I've been really surprised about is the Browns look good on their first drive. Multiple times this season, the Browns have looked incredible. Like, if I'm expecting them to come out and look great in the first drive again, but
I'm sure they will.
Very uncharacteristic of Brown teams in the past. It really has.
Well, it shows that Freddie is a good game planner, but maybe not great on the fly as far as adjustments. And maybe that's something he can improve at. Like he's only been even an offensive coordinator, right, for half a season coming into this year. So that's something maybe that he is adjusting to and getting better at as he goes. But the scripting of the plays all year has been great. The Browns are one of the best first drive teams in the league, right?
Yeah, they really are.
So they really are. That means because every single team scripts their first 15 plays, right? And then you have to figure out what they are doing to combat you and adjust by that, along with adjust based on game situations. Now, I've talked about a million times that Freddie is not good at all at understanding situational football, right? We've talked about that many times. So that's probably part of the problem. But I think that may be something we'll see that you can improve at with experience. So we'll see where it goes from there. But like I said, I think the talent difference, our offense versus their defense in this game, especially with their completely devastated secondary, is a massive, massive advantage for the Browns, and one I think they'll take advantage of all day.
All right, bold predictions, Jay. What do you see the final score being in this Browns-Dolphins?
I think the Browns are going to win. It's going to be 38-14. I think you're going to see Baker with 4 touchdown passes.
Ooh. Remember whenever I was predicting 600 yards of total offense? Man, those were the days.
Right.
I think this is the week the Browns reach the 600 yards on offense. I think it's offense extravaganza. I'm going to say Browns 42, Dolphins 7. That is I think it's a garbage time TD. 42-7. Browns just are feasting all day. They take out their frustration on the Dolphins, and they are primed and ready to go for Sunday, 1 p.m. kickoff against the Steelers. What do you think about that, Jay? 600 yards offense.
600 yards on offense. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Let's do it. I want to give shouts to our presenting sponsors, Aligned Health Center and The Place. Aligned Health Center is Northern Ohio's first chiropractic biophysics clinic. Their mission is simple: to help people in the Westlake and Beechwood areas achieve the best possible health and overall wellness. Also, shouts to The Place. The Place is a full-service fireplace and spa superstore. The Place has been in business for 52 years, family-owned and operated, transforming your backyard into the backyard of your dreams. When you think of fireplaces, hot tubs, grills, and patios, think The Place. Also, shouts to House of Hoodies for the game preview. Jay, any final thoughts?
Just this, man. I'm super excited to see, all this negative, how this does bring this team together. If they're able to come together, it looks like they are. Even some stuff I thought was cool this week, how OBJ showed up at Baker's press conference to ask questions, right? Yeah. Stuff like that. That's neat. That shows they're still engaged, that they're getting along, that they're coming together. If they all, and I honestly believe this is going to bring this team together, but we'll know Sunday, and we'll come Sunday night when me and you get together, or Monday, whenever it is that we do this reaction pod. I think we're going to be talking about just that, around this game together, and it's going to be a fun last 5 weeks of the season.
Let's go, Brownies! 3 in a row. Come on,
let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.